I got like a toddler here standing over me with the phone trying to tell me cheese because every time she sees the phone, see, like that. Every time she sees the phone, she assumes I'm trying to take a picture of her, Tim. They're so much smarter. Just look at it. See? They're so much smarter than we were, Tim. All right, welcome back to Off the Turnbuckle. We are back. As promised, there we go again. This is my youngest, Anastasia, is my producer today, just being in my ear and being obnoxious, like all producers typically are. We promised we would review this show, Tim, and we have delivered. AEW Revolution 2021.
AEW.
It took place March 7th, 2021. It was available on Bleacher Report Stream, which is where you and I we viewed it. Well, I guess before I'm getting really into it, Tim, I was getting pumped up talking about the show today, Tim, because it happened earlier in the week. It's a Saturday when we are recording this, and this happened almost a week ago. I've been really pumped to talk about this. Forgot to acknowledge. That's a big word around here. Acknowledgement, right? That's what Roman Reigns always says. He wants acknowledgement. Acknowledge the presence of Tim Grattan, down in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Tim, how are you today?
I'm good. A little sleepy, but I'm fine. I'm doing well.
Good. Can I help
you? Because I forgot. I forgot we were supposed to record a podcast on this Saturday, and I was sleeping because someone works overnights. And then I'm like, oh, I hear my phone going off. And Steve's like, do you want to record? And I'm like, oh, crap. I forgot we were doing a podcast today.
And it's funny because I'm at a point now, because we went so long. We went 2 months without doing one. I'm at a point now where I'm just saying, okay, Tim, when can we do this? What day can we do this? Okay, we'll try Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday's not going to work for me this week. Yeah, it's not going to work for me today either. So let's try Saturday. Okay, let's do Saturday. What time? 2:00. It's 2:10. Hi. Howdy. Podcast? Oh, yeah. That's where we're at.
Oh, yes. Someone was falling asleep with their glasses knocked off their face. And it's like, oh, yeah, let's record a podcast today. Why the hell not?
TV does this to you, man. We work these different hours. Definitely tires you out. That makes you appreciate the time you do have away. But we're going to use that time wisely to make you do a podcast here, Tim. As we said, AEW 2021.
AEW.
And they are starting to acknowledge, they're calling this one of their big four pay-per-views, okay? Their big four pay-per-views consist of Revolution, Full Gear, Double or Nothing. Did I get them all? I missed one.
You're missing one.
Revolution, Full Gear,
Double or Nothing,
and All Out. Sorry, All Out. That's what they're considered. Their big four. And it's interesting. I did a little bit of research on this today because I originally thought this was going to be on a Saturday night, which is all their previous pay-per-views have been on Saturday nights. And what I found was there was an unwanted conflict there was a fight that was supposed to be going on their original date. Let's see. I can't pronounce these guys' names. It's some sort of mixed martial arts fight. They scheduled that on February 27th. They didn't want to compete with that. And, when you're a small growing company like AEW, that's probably the good call. So they rescheduled it for Sunday, March 7th, which is what they finished on. They had considered moving it to the night before, but there was UFC 259 the night before. So AEW did not want to go up against that. And so they went with the Sunday night show, their first Sunday night show they've done. And I believe their Double or Nothing show, which I think it's going to If I saw the date correctly, that's Memorial Day weekend, or maybe the Sunday after Memorial Day.
Yes,
they're going back to a Sunday again, so it seems like they're going to be going to be doing this moving forward. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, so Memorial Day weekend will be the next AEW Double or Nothing, where originally it was going to be held in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, but to this pandemic thing we're in, it's going to be at the
Wait, we're in a pandemic.
Daly's place there in Jacksonville, Florida. No, I thought we were just in some type of midlife crisis for everybody.
So this show was very long. There was 8 matches on the main card. I know you were excited because you didn't have to work the next morning. I did. And I remember even you were like, oh, it's kind of sleepy here. And I remember, I think I basically punked you and said, listen here, MFer, if I am still awake with what I have coming up, you can make it work too. I think it kind of motivated you a little bit there, Tim.
I mean, I had 2 TVs going on, so it's fine. I was watching the show, and I was watching local TV news because someone that I know was anchoring.
Oh yeah, that's
the past weekend. Because if I didn't see this person anchor, I was going to get a mouthful of,
sounds like,
how come you didn't review my stuff?
That sounds like you're in an abusive relationship there, Tim.
It's not an abusive relationship. It's more of like, it was more like, can you please give me feedback? And I'm like, okay, girlfriend, I will give you feedback.
Sounds like you're in an abusive relationship.
I know what you want to do.
Because it sounds like if you didn't do it,
boy. Not really.
Oh boy, Tim, you gotta watch me live. Gotta help my numbers.
Let's just say let's just say that I definitely watched a full half hour of one of her newscasts, and then after that, I went back to watching wrestling. We're paying attention more to wrestling, so it's good. You see, Stevie, the one thing I can do, and I learned this from working in sports talk radio up in Cleveland, is multitasking, and that's a strong suit of mine. Is I can do 2 jobs at once.
Try doing 6.
Well, technically 3, because I was having a nice. Okay, well, I will get to your level because you have professionalism, and what do I have, Steve?
Not even 1 ounce. Okay.
Right. Well, actually, I was doing 3 things at once, Stevie, because I was also having a nice little drink on the side while watching AEW on Sunday.
Well, you could argue you would need a alcoholic beverage to watch parts of this show. Now, I'm not. Let me put this out there straight up. I know there is a lot of push. How do I want to say this without coming off a certain way? There's a lot of people out there when they watch AEW, they feel obligated to just bash it or be over. What's the word? Over complimentary. I find myself in the middle. When AEW first came out, I said I like that there's going to be an alternative program that's going to have somewhat of a mainstream appeal. It's going to have the funding of something that really hasn't been matched since WCW. It's going to have the production that probably hasn't been seen since WCW as a secondary, promotion out there. I'm not saying this company is going to overtake the WWE. You see how much money Universal and Fox have put into the WWE in the past 2 years? Yeah, this is not quote unquote competition for WWE's main program. Okay. And soon it's not going to be any competition on Wednesday nights at all. We'll get to that later, or maybe another time. So if I'm critical of these matches, please don't take it as, I'm just taking a dump on AEW. I'm just going to give you my honest opinion based on what I saw after watching the pay-per-view on Sunday. Because I know there's a lot of people saying, people just want to take a crap all over it. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to give my honest opinion on it. So, Tim, you want to talk about the pre-show match? Why don't you talk about that?
It was fantastic. Let's move on.
Who was in it?
I have no idea. I didn't watch the pre-match.
You call yourself a wrestling fan. I remember the text you got. I'm so excited for the show today, Steve. All right. Dr. Britt Baker and
she was
Maki
wrestling.
Itoh
I would have watched. She's easy on the eyes.
defeated Riho and Thunder Rosa in a tag team contest. It went just under 15 minutes for the. I guess they don't call it the pre-show; they call it the buy-in. Excuse me. Which I don't know how that works. If you get that for free, is like what the free for all used to be, and if you don't order it, it cuts off. I'm guessing that's what that is. I don't know.
It was on TNT, so it was like the old Sunday Night Heat where you would get like two matches.
That's like the free for all
promos to build up for the paper.
It's like the free for all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That was something that you would know way more before me. Because, well, I didn't start watching wrestling until 1999. But anyways, start talking. It's all you. I'll shut up.
Okay. Main card starts by 8 o'clock. And when this show started, I was tired, man. It was a very long day for me. And I'm used to, I'm accustomed to
drink your coffee before the show? Wow.
I don't drink coffee, dude. No, I mean, every once in a while I'll try it, but I typically don't drink coffee. I'm used to these WWE Network shows, at least during the pandemic, all starting at 7 o'clock, which I love. I love they're starting at 7 on the network. Because most of the time you get your show done by 10. I love it. All right. It didn't happen tonight. We got a AEW World Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks, who are your AEW Tag Team Champions, defending against the Inner Circle members, Chris Jericho and MJF. And the big storyline with this match was that Jericho and MJF took Papa Buck to the woodshed. They juiced Papa Buck, Tim, all over the trailer of the Young Bucks. And then they were so upset that one of them went in the ambulance with Papa Buck. So they got a lot of quote-unquote heat on this match, which, was interesting. And this match will go 17 minutes and 50 seconds. And it ends with a bunch of kicks and a bunch of flips. And the Young Bucks get the victory. Jericho takes the pin, actually. Jesus. Where do I start with this stuff? The Young Bucks... I'm really trying to be nice when I say this.
We don't have
all
to.
they do is super kicks and flips and no selling and no storytelling in the ring. And the best part about the Young Bucks is their music and their entrance when all the dollars come out and they're not young anymore. Oh, man. Go ahead, Tim. Say this.
Well, it sounds like you're going to poop all over this match. So I thought it was an excellent match.
God damn it. Dude.
And I'm going to say this.
Super kick is a huge move in the history of pro wrestling, and they bastardized it.
And I will say it was a great tag team match to start out the show.
Great.
I had no issues with the match. I was highly entertained. I wasn't looking at my cell phone on Twitter during this match. I was actually paying attention to it. I love Chris Jericho, even though he's older now. He's still, he's not the athletic Jericho that we knew when we were growing up, but he can still go. I love MJF.
You still got it.
I think he's getting better as his time in AEW is continuing. I have no issues with this match whatsoever. Now, this match was at the Tokyo Dome. It'd probably be 10 stars, but I think it was a great opener to start this. 5.5, okay. But it was a great way to start the show. I have no issues with this.
I said 25.5, by the way.
25.5, okay. Well, that's close enough. I mean, I gave it 10, so we're not too far off.
I don't know. I just kind of feel with the story they're trying to tell wasn't as physical as you would think it would be. It wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. I always have a hard time trying to believe it. You're going to try to tell me this story about there's so much. It's so personal. It's so personal. It's so personal. And then I'm just going to try and mat wrestle you, or I'm just going to try to do this. And I can't get over the Young Bucks have no offense other than kicking and flipping. That kills me. I liked how they're kind of teasing the whole Wardlow stuff. He missed the Judas effect, hits Wardlow, and then later in the night they talk about how we're gonna have a war council on Wednesday night about the Inner Circle, which save it for later. What they do there. I don't have a problem with Young Bucks retaining the titles. I thought if Jericho and MJF had won the titles here, I think that would have been a mistake. And yes, MJF is getting better because the guy when he got to AEW was green as grass. I'll say that to keep it PG. He wasn't that good. He still isn't great, but yes, he's getting better. And his time with Jericho, I'm sure, has only helped. And I know they got some good road agents that work with him. Well, I guess they're not road agents anymore. This kind of Jacksonville agents because they're not traveling
Producers?
right now. Yeah, and the more reps he gets out there, the better he's going to get. I mean, clearly the company likes what they see in him. The guy's only been pinned one time in the near 2 years the company's been in existence. So, and even though I don't believe in wins and losses is be all end all, because you can lose and still have a good match, i.e. Jericho. Has the guy really won anything since he dropped the AEW title? The answer is no, by the way. So,
and he doesn't need to win championships in AEW. I mean, he's already one of now they're good guys, which we'll talk about that later.
Maybe.
But, he his faction was one of the top heel groups in AEW, so they don't need championships. Everybody in that group's over. So you're right. It doesn't make sense for Jericho and MJF to win the titles, even though I was fully ready for it if it did happen. But it was overall it was a good show. It was a good way to start. It was a good way to start the pay-per-view.
I would disagree with the statement that everyone in that group is over. I don't think anyone cares about Santana or Ortiz at all. At all. When those guys talk, I don't think anyone's paying attention. They appreciate Swagger because, he's Swagger and he's got the MMA stuff going on. I think the people, the person in that group that people looked the most at was Sammy Guevara. But, yeah, we can get to that in our time. Let's move on here to a match I found very entertaining. This was basically a Royal Rumble for tag teams. We get both tag teams in there, and last team standing, as long as you have one member surviving, winner's going to get a shot tag team title. They call it the Casino Tag Team Royale, and I was pulling for some Jungle Boy here, and Jungle Boy gets all the way to the end here. He loses to Ray Phoenix, representing Death Triangle, more specifically Pac, who's now babyface Pac, which is very interesting. Haven't seen him babyface in many years in pro wrestling. They're going to get a shot at the Young Bucks. This was a very entertaining battle royal once we got to the second half of it. When I say second half of it, this match went almost 27 minutes. The first half of this battle royal was filled of managers or other pieces getting involved in the match, trying to rip people off the turnbuckle, blah, 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 stuff I don't need. You already got twice the amount of people in the battle royal because you got both members of your tag team. So I liked once it broke down a little bit. And I thought the final sequence was very, very, very impressive. As I said, I was pulling for some Jungle Boy, though, but it's okay. Ray Phoenix and the Death Triangle gets the victory here in this Casino Tag Team Royale.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I kind of thought there was a lot of downtime in the match that I didn't really care for. I'm fine with Death Triangle winning. Like to see a new tag team in the mix for the AEW tag team titles. But I don't know. This match didn't. It was kind of just. It was okay for me. It really was.
Like I said, what you got the
Nothing
second
really
half?
too special.
What you got the second half got pretty good. Jungle Boy did a lot of spots, near elimination spots, which he's very. There's two guys I look at for this year. I think are gonna have big years in AEW. On the younger side are quote unquote AEW creations, as far as mainstream level, and it's Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, haha, piss everybody off when they say that, right? And Darby Allin. I think both those guys are gonna have very good years in 2021. I mean, think about it.
Great.
Tony Khan bought the music rights of that Tarzan song that he's coming out to now.
Well, I mean, he has money to blow around, so it's fine. He can do stuff like that.
Well, anyone's got money to blow around in the middle of a pandemic. People are losing money left and right. But
he can because
it's a good investment. I thought it was a good investment. Jungle Boy rules, man. All right, and we got Tim's favorite match of the night. Go ahead, Tim.
My favorite match of the night. Let's see. Well, I'm not going to pronounce these Japanese names, so you can go ahead and.
No. It's your turn. I tossed it to you. It's your turn.
All right. Well, we have the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Let's see. Hikaru Shida and Ryu Mizuna. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. And if I butcher it, I'm sorry.
Mizunami.
There we go.
Or Sai.
Whatever Steve said, yes. And that works too.
Kind of looks like Sai to me.
But do you want me to go first with my match review?
I
know you're dying. I know you're dying to hear it.
Yes, I want to hear your 5-star review.
Well, in my mind, I didn't care for it because I'm not a big Japanese wrestling fan, and I know this was the style match that they were going with, was Japanese style. I didn't care for it. And you can hate me all you want. I just did not care for this match.
Oh, why would I hate you?
This was my popcorn match.
Why would I hate you?
This was the match where I need to get another drink, or I need
this
to use
was
restroom.
Quite possibly the worst match of the night.
Wow, somebody agrees with me.
Why?
Okay.
Does that surprise you?
Now we're back on Sports Talk Radio. A little bit, because I know you like women's wrestling way more than I do.
Well, you have to appreciate what they're trying to do. It's a complete culture change now. It's, after the damage that was done to women's wrestling 15 to 20 years ago, and they finally been able to crawl out of this and be considered respectable. I mean, you're trying to give these girls a shot here, but this match was horrible. And I can appreciate slow build, mat wrestling, all sort of chain wrestling, technical wrestling, because I love wrestling. Oh, sorry. Did it again. But it just, there's nothing worse than a match that it looks like they don't know how to end it. Ending a match is so important to the match actually being good. And they botched the finish. They had to do it over and do something else. And unfortunately, with our champion here, that's happened a couple times here on recent title defenses, where her finishing maneuver is very difficult to do, but she can't. It's not one of those moves that she can do on everyone. It's very difficult for her to do on Nyla Rose, so it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very convincing. And the same thing happened in this match here. And you got a little post-match stuff, which leads to more stuff. I really don't care about that. I'd say Dr. Britt Baker is going to be your next challenger. That's what I would say, based on what I'm seeing. So that match could be that'll be on your radar, Tim.
I mean, Dr. Britt Baker is very easy on the eyes, and she can definitely be my orthodontist any day of the week, or dentist, whatever she does with teeth. All right, I'm all done talking about women's wrestling. Let's move on.
Wow. Oh, by the way, that match was 15 minutes of time you'll never get back in your life, by the way. Let me get the match.
It was 10 minutes and 10 seconds too long.
This next match is pretty forgettable. Miro and Kip Sabian get the victory over the best friends Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor via submission, accolade, or whatever the hell he's calling that maneuver now. The match starts with a backstage interview. Cassidy and Chuck Taylor getting interviewed, and they get attacked, and I think Taylor goes through like freaking like glass or something like that. So he's blading. So you're blading halfway through the show in a show that's going to be main evented with a death match. Okay, gotcha. I'm not a fan of multiple matches juicing. I'm gonna put that out there, especially when this is a quote unquote let me out match, because what comes up next, right? What comes up next afterwards is one of the bigger builds. This match was just kind of in there. Yeah, people like Orange Cassidy. Let's get him in there, right? And they just get destroyed. 7 minutes, 50 seconds. I didn't think they needed to bleed in this match. And they've issued a challenge for another one more match between these guys. If I heard the concept correctly, they want to put like a bunch of arcade games around the ring. So kind of like a different looking gimmick. I can't ever say I've seen a wrestling match with the arcade games around the ring, unless it was just going to be like a backstage segment or backstage street fight or something like that. But that sounds interesting, because Miro's whole gimmick now is he's a big gamer on Twitch. So, okay. Okay. What do you think about this match?
Okay. Well, to me, this match was all about Miro and just building him as a big badass in AEW. And yeah, I know, they're playing off the fact that Miro and Chuck Taylor had history in the past and whatnot, but once again, it's one of those things where it's like we need to put Miro in better situations and then the mid card. Because I think the one thing that AEW lacks, is having, and you're gonna probably be like, what the hell, Tim? But they need big badasses on the roster, and they don't have a whole lot. They have two, in my opinion. They have Miro and Jake Hager. That's it. Like, yeah, they have
Paul White.
Lance Archer.
By the way,
like I said,
Miro's listed 6 foot tall, 300 pounds. I would not consider him a big man. You call him a powerhouse.
Big, dominant.
You call him power wrestler.
You can say powerhouse too.
But he's not a big guy. But
they don't have that. But they don't have that really like powerhouse wrestlers.
Okay.
And I think Miro needs to take a step up in the card. But you're right. This match was definitely forgettable. Now, the next match I thought was fantastic. Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy. That match was really, really well. I loved it. I thought that was the second best match of the night, in my opinion. I fully enjoyed watching Hangman Adam Page kick the crap out of Big Money Matt Hardy. And I hate this gimmick because
I love it.
It's just
I love it.
I hate it because like I feel like I'm not invested into it yet. I mean, I need to maybe actually sit down and pay attention. I mean, I know like Matt Hardy's been doing crossover stuff with Impact with Private Party, but I don't know. It's to me it's not like Matt Hardy version 1, or when
Slap a
delete
tornado.
Matt Hardy or whatever. Yeah,
I love that song.
I
That
don't know.
song is so great. I could slap a tornado. Oh man, this is the crazy thing about the Hardys, man. Oh, I just unplugged there for a second. I apologize. Just think about the Hardys, which is nuts. And everyone's always talked about how Jeff Hardy he was always the guy with the bigger future. He was always the guy who had the charisma. But I don't care what anyone says. Matt Hardy has always been better on the microphone, better character actor. But Jeff was just, for some reason, it's always just been adored more than Matt. Always been perceived to be better than Matt. I've always been more of a Matt Hardy supporter. I mean, I think Jeff's been great over his run. He's also had his head on his shoulders more than his brother Jeff. So, I mean, this character is just another evolution of Matt Hardy, and I think it's great. All of a sudden, he's got all this money everywhere, and he's calling himself Big Money Matt Hardy. I love it. And he tried to pull a fast one over on Hangman Page, and Hangman's like, not so fast, my friend. And I like the story that they told about how Matt Hardy's guys are getting on the outside. Okay, here we go. It's going to cost him the match. Oh, we'll do finisher kickouts. Okay, whatever. It's AEW. Who cares? They can do finisher kickouts all they want. And then you have all the Dark Order guys come out and try to back him up. And the segment they did on Raw, where they put all the Dark. He spent like all this money. He said he bought 6 bottles of whiskey because the whole deal was whoever won the match got the losers first quarter earnings from AEW. So Hangman buys, like he said, he bought 6 bottles of whiskey, and he bought his big lawn tractor, and he put all the guys, like a bunch of the Dark Order guys, on the tractor. And like the one guy couldn't get out. He's like, "Hey man, come on, there's a weight limit." He's like, "Who wants to go for ice cream?" Wee! All right, see, the one guy just left behind. By the way, wrestling can be entertaining, people, before you always want to bash the WWE and what they do down there in Tampa. Okay, it can be entertaining and it can be fun, right, Tim?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Good job for Hangman Page getting the victory. They won about 14 minutes and 40 seconds.
I still think the quarter lost a little luster since the passing of Brody Lee.
Of course they have. I mean, I can get into that right now if you want me to.
I mean, if you want to sidebar into that, then absolutely. Of course. But I just feel like
the Dark Order has been completely. You know what? I'll let you go first. Sorry, Tim. This was your point.
I was going to say the Dark Order has completely lost his luster ever since Brody Lee's passing. I know this is, it sucks that we lost Brody. He was a hell of a worker, hell of a performer. But they just haven't been the same. And it just feels like nobody is going to take Brody Lee's spot in that group. Nobody. And I mean, congratulations that Adam Page is in it, but it's still not. It's just not the same.
He's not, though.
He's like an associate member.
Yeah, he's like an ally. Yeah, he's like an ally. I mean,
but still.
I mean, let me just. How do I want to respond to that comment? Of course, it hasn't been the same because before they were a heel group, right? Heel faction. And now, because of the passing of Brody, they've become babyface, which is completely against all the things all the ideas they were brought up. And then it's the whole, we're going to get Brody Lee Jr. involved, which nothing makes me cringe more than when I see him on TV. I don't need to see a kid in wrestling in the middle of an angle. I don't need to see it. It's just not believable. And I understand what Tony Khan's trying to do, but I just disagree. From a fan perspective, I disagree. And the only way to fix it at this point is to take them off television for an extended period of time and eventually bring them back and make it mysterious who your new leader is going to be, and that'll be you just have to basically relaunch it. But it starts with you have to take them off TV and make them a heel group again. So,
because I'll tell you what, Stevie, I will tell you this. The highlight of the Dark Order was when Brody Lee was the TNT champion, and they were actually a legitimate threat.
for 2 weeks.
Now it's kind of like, okay, it was like a month, but still.
2 weeks.
It was like,
how many times did he show up with the title? Like 2 times. That was it. Boom. Out.
It was still the best 2 weeks that the Dark Order has ever had. But moving on. I'm ready to move on.
Next match.
Let's talk about a ladder match.
Was this freaking abortion? Oh my god.
All right. Start first. Go first.
You know, I said the women's match was the worst match of the night. This one gives the competition, man. Oh boy, this is bad. The Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future AEW TNT Championship match. And instead of putting like a briefcase up there or a contract up there, they're pulling for, they put a freaking brass ring donut thing up there that Sonic the Hedgehog was probably looking for, because they want, yet they'll say, oh, we don't take shots at WWE. Yeah, that's all that was taking a shot. Gotta grab that brass ring. Yeah, that, whatever, guys. Why don't you just run through who was in this match, Tim?
All right, we had Scorpio Sky, we had Cody Rhodes, we had Lance Archer, Max Caster, Penta El Zero, and I'm gonna butcher this last name. Medio? Does that sound right?
Miedo.
And a surprise.
Miedo. No N.
Miedo.
No N.
Miedo. And a surprise appearance by Ethan Page.
Which a lot of fans
were
like,
also
who the hell
in the match. Yeah, that's what I said too. Also, we do have to talk about the big surprise in AEW as well.
We have to.
But it could be like a 30-second VO. If you get that, you work in television. Anyways, this was a complete cluster. You know what? I hated this match. It's just, I'm glad that Scorpio Sky has a chance to go for the AEW TNT Championship. Just, to me, it was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in a match. They had no idea what to do with them. Hey, let's put them in a ladder match. Why not?
So, I think I texted you halfway through this match. Like, where's Cody? And he went to the back.
He's hiding.
Okay. So they're trying to sell his shoulder injury. Okay. Match goes 23 minutes and 15 seconds. Holy crap. Ladder matches don't need to go more than 15 minutes. Okay.
This is why I'm starting to hate ladder matches. They go too long.
This freaking match. There's so many freaking rest spots. Because the guys were so freaking gassed in this match. You got one point where Jake the Snake comes in. He's trying to celebrate with Archer. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Then you got freaking Penta. He's just posing for like 5 minutes, it feels like. And JR's even like, I would be climbing right now if I were you. There was no reason, absolutely no reason it needed to be that long. And the freaking ending was so anticlimactic. It was bad ending. Great. Scorpio Sky gets a AEW championship match against the champion Darby Allin on the next edition of Dynamite. Congratulations. Which, spoiler, he loses and turns heel because he's a jerk. Zinger.
What a jerk.
Speaking of Darby,
do you want to talk about the big surprise? We'll get
to that.
All right. So you want to talk about Darby Allin and Sting facing up against Team Taz. The Stinger. Brian Cage and Ricky Starks with Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs in a street fight that did not need to be super theatric whatsoever.
Well, here's the thing about that. I thought this match was perfect timing because it went about 13 minutes, 40 seconds. I liked that it was pre-taped because it's a street fight. There's no reason to do it live when you can. This is one of the advantages you have of this pandemic is you can take advantage of stuff. I would not use the word cinematic to describe this match because the only thing that was cinematic was the entrance. Okay. This wasn't Undertaker and AJ Styles where they're doing crazy stuff in it and, we're playing dramatic music. This isn't, I've never seen the Swamp match, which has been described as the worst cinematic one. This isn't even the Playhouse, Funhouse, whatever what did Bray Wyatt call this thing? The Funhouse match?
Funhouse match.
Yeah, that wasn't something like that. This was just it was not overproduced, but it produced pre-tape match with in dark lighting, and I thought it did exactly what we needed to do. Listen here, folks. Sting hasn't wrestled in 5 years or whatever it's been, 4 years, whatever it's been. This is the perfect way to get him back in the ring. He doesn't have to take a ton of bumps. You can do some pretty crazy stuff with Darby Allin, and you can utilize, the you can utilize the outside interference, and I think it told a great story. And then I heard someone on a podcast say, well, if the match is pre-taped, why are you doing commentary? You already know what the outcome is. Well, guess what? We don't know what the outcome is. We're watching it for the first time, so I don't have a problem with there being commentary on this match. I understand why there's no commentary on like the AJ and Undertaker match because they are talking. They're talking crap to each other the whole match. But this, I thought was great that Taz was on commentary. I thought a lot too, because he's talking a bunch of trash about Darby Allin and Sting, and they're overcoming, and the babyfaces come out with the victory. Sting and Darby Allin get that victory. Love it. Great match. Great. It was very entertaining. I found it very entertaining. Stinger's back in it, man.
I thought it was okay.
Loved it.
I just didn't like that. It was fine for what it needed to be. It was just for me, It was just neutral.
Sting's not going to look good in front of a live crowd, guys. This is a good way for him to come back.
It was. Ready for the main event? The match that everybody was talking about on the internet.
Now I'll throw in the surprise. Now I'll say let's go the surprise. Before you get to the main event, because Paul White says main event guy, Hall of Fame worthy guy coming to AEW. I knew about it first. He did a podcast with Renee Paquette, Mrs. John Moxley, by the way. If you're curious, they talked about some stuff. Spoiler, guys, he didn't bury the WWE, so because Paul White's a smart man and knows that someday down the road, him and WWE are probably going to do business again. Okay. But the one line I loved from the podcast was, I guess, when he did his interview the week before when he came out with the No More BS t-shirt. I guess he called it AEW Evolution instead of Revolution. And he was talking about how, nobody said anything to him in the back, wasn't in the back like, you're just at the pay-per-view. Nobody's going to pay it. God damn it. No one's going to watch the pay-per-view now. You ruined the whole thing. In his Big Show voice. Which I had to say, it's how he does that voice. I just love it. But, he says like it's definitely a lot calmer when a mistake happens. And he goes into that. And that's a podcast worth checking out. He says, oh yeah, the only thing I can say about him, this individual, didn't say him, is that this person can outwork anyone. And they played the little Titantron thing, and it says Christian Cage, which was one of the rumored names who it could have been. Christian Cage comes out, does his little thing where he's looking for the crowd because he can't see anybody because there's only 1,000 people there. And then he signs his contract and unzips his jacket. T-shirt says "Outwork everyone," and he walks out. Christian is on AEW.
See, I was hoping for like a big surprise, and I kind of felt disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, all right, they're building this up to be somewhat like, in my mind, Stevie, I was thinking like, all right, are we gonna see the man? Is he gonna come on out? And I'm talking about CM Punk, but
that guy's done wrestling, guys.
CM Punk.
He's done wrestling. It's a pipe dream. It's over. He doesn't want to wrestle anymore. I think Christian's a very nice surprise because I didn't think he was ever going to wrestle again. When he showed up at Royal Rumble this past year, I was very surprised. Had a very good showing, and I was surprised that that's the last we're going to see of him in the WWE at this time. I was surprised I didn't buy into the Kurt Angle rumor I saw, and I know Kurt, he put a teaser out on Twitter that day, and I know the other name people were throwing out there was I just cannot envision this ever happening. Brock Lesnar, because the WWE removed all his merchandise like on Thursday, the day after AEW kind of teased this stuff. I think Brock Lesnar would rather stay on his farm than work in AEW's bingo halls, compared to what stadium shows he normally does. You know what I mean?
He'd rather go play for the New York Yankees than go play for like the Baltimore Orioles right now.
I just think he'd rather just stay on his farm and do nothing than work for anywhere other than Vince right now. I think him and Vince have that good of a relationship. Look at the stuff that Vince has done for him. It's like the Shawn Michaels relationship that it's the only other thing I can compare it to. It's just, the things that Vince will do for this guy to accommodate this guy. And the only reason he's not under contract right now is because he does not want to be performing under these circumstances. And I can't blame anyone who doesn't want to perform under these circumstances without an actual crowd there. So,
I mean, do you really want to wrestle in front of virtual fans? No, you'd rather wrestle in front of actual fans.
No, and even if you, and I know WrestleMania this year is gonna be a lot better than the past year, but I don't even think that's enough for him to want to come back for this year. I'd be shocked if that's the other thing. I saw the reading of the rumors over the past 6 months was Rock and Roman Reigns, and I don't think Rock was going to ever commit to a match when he just didn't know if there was even going to be a crowd. And plus, we all know what happened last time The Rock was in a legit match. He suffered a very serious injury. It set a lot of his Hollywood projects back quite a bit. So, it's understandable why these guys don't want to wrestle in these unknown circumstances. And they did announce officially, WrestleMania is going to have about 20,000 fans, I believe. Tickets are going to be going on sale the following week. And it's going to be a 2-night edition again. Yay. 2 nights. Yay.
Yeah.
I can't figure out if I prefer. I can't figure out if I prefer the 2 nights or the 1 night. Maybe the 2 nights is better if you're not investing as much time at one period of time.
I mean, with the baby screaming in the background, I totally agree that I am not interested in watching a 2-night WrestleMania. I like my Sunday night, get it all done in 1 night, and call it a day. But
7 hours later,
it's like, what time this event started? 4:30, and it's what, midnight? Yeah.
Speaking of long night, this match started well after 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. I'm not a fan of a show going this close to midnight, unless it's your quote unquote WrestleMania. So I'm not liking the trend for me watching AEW shows and me working early at 3:30 the next morning. But here we are, the main event. It's what we're all here for. Exploding barbed wire death match. Kenny Omega, the champion, with Don Callis on commentary, I love it says with Don Callis, and literally he was just on commentary. Taking on John Moxley, the challenger. This match had barbed wire around 3 sides of the ring. They had these little corner barbed wire gimmicks. They had these little box barbed wire gimmicks on the ground on the outside. They had a trash can. They had steel chair, kendo stick, baseball bat, all wrapped in barbed wire. They had the referee in a hazmat suit, which I still think is ridiculous. And they basically said, once these guys hit the barbed wire in the ring, there's going to be explosions. Once they hit anything with barbed wire, it's going to be an explosion. And I think one of the things you texted me before the match even started is you loved the fact that John Moxley was taking a swig of some whiskey right before the match.
I know, because him and I were probably drinking the same whiskey during the night. So, John Moxley and I are, we're
now you like
we're
whiskey.
Definitely good whiskey drinker. I drink whiskey.
Okay. For all the years I've known you, it's always been moonshine.
No, I drink whiskey.
What kind of whiskey do you drink?
Jack Daniels.
It's barely whiskey, but okay.
Whatever. It's like people tell me about my beer choices. That's another argument, but I can rant on for about 20 minutes.
Well, beer is beer, dude.
Well, let's just say living in Virginia, or this is a side note, if you drank, let's see, American branded beer,
okay,
that you see commercials all the time, you have bad taste in beer.
Why?
And I'll just leave it at that.
Why?
Because Virginia is a big craft beer state, and if you don't drink craft beer, then you're considered an outsider.
I guarantee you they're no more of a craft beer state than Ohio and Cleveland area is. I guarantee you they'll have more breweries than Ohio and Northeast Ohio has. Everyone's got I think my neighbor just got a brewery. That's how freaking often they pop up in the Cleveland area. You know that.
True that.
Whatever. I always say this. Drink what you like. And the whole Tennessee whiskey, Jack Daniels is whiskey, that's not my line. That's someone else. Someone told me that one time. That's not real whiskey. I'm like, oh, okay, it tastes like real whiskey to me every time I have it.
So it gets you messed up.
Well, if you have enough of anything, it'll get you messed up, especially if you drink a whole bottle of, what was that? Captain Morgan by yourself one night. Yeah, that was a fun time. This match went 25 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, before we get to the stipulation, they say is if the match is not finished by the 30-minute mark, the ring will explode. All the explosions will go off, right? They said that. If the match doesn't get finished within 30 minutes, right? So let's remember that, Tim. Okay? 30 minutes from the bell rings. If the match does not conclude by then, the ring's going to explode, basically. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what you thought of this match, and then I'll tell you what I thought about the match, and we'll talk about the end.
I thought the match overall was pretty good. I love the fact that Moxley and Kenny Omega just beat the living crap out of each other. I was down for the blood, the barbed wire, and the explosives. But everybody's going to remember how that match ended. And the fact that the explosion was
we'll get to that.
Literally just lighting.
We'll get to that.
But overall, I thought the match was fine. I had no issues with the match. I think it ended between Mox and Omega for a while, and it's definitely time to turn the page between those two.
They're not.
But until you watch AEW Dynamite last Wednesday, like, nope, they're still going to fight, but
well,
I thought it was a great match.
All right.
I thought it was fine.
All right. Let me start by saying I think these kinds of matches are stupid. and everything that's wrong with pro wrestling are these crazy matches with the barbed wire and anything you're going to call a death match. I just don't think it's smart. I don't think it's intelligent. They're not safe. So to see a match like this on a stage like this was very interesting. With that being said, I thought the match was entertaining. Because I don't care what anybody says, I find Jon Moxley extremely entertaining in a wrestling ring. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like him, they don't like the style, blah, 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 screw you. Because I like him. All right. It doesn't matter what he's doing. To me, he is entertaining as hell. He took a stupid spot taking the shirt off and going through the one little gimmick, doing his little DDT. What I didn't like is you're going to call a match a death match, yet you have to blade. I mean, shouldn't elements of the match take care of that? You would think. I didn't understand why they need a blade, but that's just my opinion. Maybe it's because they bought the cheap like 2-prong barbed wire, so it really doesn't do that much to you. I don't know. Let's see, what else do I have here? I thought the match was, like I said, very entertaining. I loved like the first 5 minutes or so before you saw the first explosion happen. Like it was very suspenseful, which I thought that was good. They did a good job. The face expressions by both these guys of not wanting to go into the barbed wire, and they sold it very well. It was a great job of selling in a match like this. That's important. It's really important in a match like this that you sell. Make it believable, right? Because we understand these aren't real explosions going off. It's just, we get that. But if visually you can make it look believable just by small things like that. And I thought the match was good up until the point the Good Brothers got involved. All those things I just talked about, Tim, the good selling, that goes out the window. Good Brothers take 12 shots between the two of them with the bat. The barbed wire bat, I believe. And they're down for a total of 20 seconds. And then Moxley takes a freaking exploding barbed wire to the... I know it didn't catch him in the face. It was more off the neck area, but still. And all that for a 2 count. That should have finished him off, quite frankly. But no, we have to do the freaking 17-star move by Kenny Omega onto a chair for the finish. Okay. So yeah, the finish I didn't think was great. I thought everything leading up to the finish was good. As I said, you're going to do that spot with the freaking barbed wire exploding in his face, or so we're led to believe it to be his face. That should have been your finish. That shouldn't have been a 2 count. I'll steal a quote from another podcast on this one, Tim. A exploding barbed wire to the face leads to a 2 count. Has never been uttered before in the history of pro wrestling. And then the individual went on to say, and normal and after, because this wasn't pro wrestling. That's not that part's not mine, but I thought that should have ended the match for sure. I thought the match was entertaining. I do not have an issue with him sticking with Omega. So let's talk about the debacle before the debacle, Tim. Once again, we have both said we thought this match was entertaining. Right?
Right.
What happens in the next 5 minutes does not take away from what we've said. There's a lot of criticism out there saying that people are just going to think about the end of this match or what happens after the match when they're talking about this match. No, I thought the match was fine. I separate it from what happens in the next 4 minutes and 45 seconds here. Boy, they screwed this up. And I'm not even talking about the sparklers from Gilbert at the end. I'm not even talking about that part. So what did I say before this match started, Tim? What was the big rule of the match? Something about 30 minutes, right? What did I say?
Right. I don't remember.
Good Lord, Tim. They said they beat this over our head if the match is not over within 30 minutes, the ring's going to explode, right? Everything's going to explode, right? Everything's going to go off, right? 25 minutes, 15 seconds, the match is over. Why is there an explosion at the end? And why do the commentators keep telling us it's going to blow anyway? It's going to blow anyway. So then you got Good Brothers and Kenny in there looking like a bunch of idiots trying to freaking milk it for 4 minutes. JR's like, are these guys idiot? Are these guys stupid? Oh my God. Did they pull the handcuffs on him? Like that's going to stop him getting out of the ring of the side where he can easily get out of, right? This is the intelligence in this last 4 minutes. Okay, so we're a minute left. They finally leave the ring, and then they start having like the sirens are going off. Tim, it's like bah, 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 like something's about to go. You got Eddie Kingston running out. He puts his body over John Moxley. I'm gonna sacrifice for my former friend, and then sparklers. Hi, honey. Sparklers, Tim.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston, bless his heart, man. He gave it. He won a great performance. I felt the most worse for him because now Eddie Kingston has to sell the fact that this guy exploded.
He was trying to protect a good friend, and the sparklers went out.
That's my best friend of 17 years. Oh man, I feel bad for the guys. And then so let's talk about the explanation, because clearly something didn't go right. That's what they said. That's what was implied. So what they try to do, because they want to make kayfabe a thing. Yeah, Tony Khan said, "Well, it's a good thing Kenny Omega wasn't that good of an architect, huh? That good of an engineer." Shut up, Tony Khan, you dweeb. And Moxley said something like that. He just almost got blown up and crap. He's talking to the crowd after the show. Oh, Kenny Omega sucks at making a death match. Nice to put the heel on the heel, but not this time, guys.
Right. But the match was fine. The ending sucked. We get it. But
my biggest issue was Good Brothers coming in the match. Okay, if we're gonna bring Good Brothers in the match, it could have been done better. You know, they take 12 shots of freaking bat. They should be down a little longer. But, yeah. And so the one thing I think they should have done differently. Okay, so they kept saying, if it goes 30 minutes or longer, we're going to explode the ring. We're going to implode the ring. What would have made more sense rather than making these guys milk it for 4 minutes? Okay, you're beating him down. You're standing over him. Don Callis comes down the ring. He's got a microphone in his hand. Say, guys, I don't care if the match didn't last long enough. We're blowing this thing up. I have the controls right here. We're gonna blow it. So how much more believable would that have been than they have to sit around for freaking 3.5 minutes trying to beat him down, waiting for the time, and for the commentator to say 2 minutes left, 90 seconds left, and this would have made got more heat on Don Callis and his pink colored sunglasses.
Yeah, who wears sunglasses in Florida in the middle of the night? Oh, 2 people. Pitbull and Don Callis. Doesn't count.
Yes, he does.
Nope, doesn't count.
Oh, by the way, he's still on very good terms with WWE, by the way. He revealed on his latest podcast this week that he recorded an interview for a WWE 24 documentary for The Miz.
Well, congratulations on his success.
I'm just glad he's still good terms with WWE. I think that's great. I mean, you know how I feel about that guy. WrestleMania 32. We all remember my reaction to him winning the ladder match. You ever hear like what Vince said weeks before that match?
What?
Why the hell aren't we doing anything with Zack Ryder? Oh my god. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, you and I didn't know each other when they had that Cleveland show and the freaking Hugh Jackman show. Oh my god. Zack Ryder was more over the scene of that night, dude. Oh, that's great. So, do you want to grade the show, Tim? You said you wanted to.
I thought, I would give it a thumbs up. I mean,
I thought you were going to give it like an A plus plus.
I'll give it a B. I thought it was a B. I thought it was a solid B show. I thought
B plus player.
There were some stinkers, huh?
I said B plus player.
Again. Yeah, it was. You had. Let's see. You had some good matches and you had some really bad ones, and that's why it makes it a B plus show.
I've heard some reviews saying this is worse than Impact, what they're doing right now. I've seen some reviews saying this is better than anything the WWE's had in a year. But what I can tell you is that this was the highest so far. I mean, the numbers are not in as far as how many buys this pay-per-view got, but it is expected to be the highest bought pay-per-view non-WWE since 1999.
And I think people who watched this show got their money's worth. I did. I know you did. It was a good show.
Yes, I enjoyed it. Also, there's a great line from so I just want to talk a little bit about Dynamite, just a couple small things here. Like we alluded to earlier, Moxley was still kind of going after Omega whenever, because him and Kingston are together and they're going to have a match with the Good Brothers next week on Dynamite. But Christian Cage came out because he was supposed to have an interview or whatever, and Kenny Omega said, you know, we come out here, we call the shots. And he kind of came out and they had a little bit of a stare down with Christian Cage. And Kenny Omega, he's holding up the title. And they did a little bit of physicality, nothing too crazy. And they're teasing Christian Cage, and Kenny Omega already is going to possibly be the first program he does. And on the podcast I alluded to earlier, Paul White says, "Wow, the worst thing, I don't want to be some a-hole and come in and get in the middle of go for a title match right away, get in the middle of Omega and Moxley what they've done." I'm thinking, oh no, Christian Cage. Say that so, Christian.
Yeah.
We talked about Scorpio. He turned heel on Darby after Darby beat him clean.
Inner Circle.
And I was making my way to that. And they did a freaking triple swerve on people watching this segment. Inner Circle was believed to said, we're going to kick somebody out. Sammy Guevara comes out, says, please watch this video. I have a secret video camera of MJF colluding with Inner Circle. I want to kick Jericho out. And he's like, okay. MJF says, okay, get him, guys. And then this one was so freaking clear as day that it wasn't going to happen. You don't think we talk to each other? We're taking you out. You're fired from Inner Circle. And then they took so freaking long to get to this point that MJF reveals that he's got a stable of his own. The lights go off twice for some reason, and all hell breaks loose, and they clean house on the Inner Circles. This new faction that MJF's got consists of MJF and Wardlow. We've got Sean Spears. We've got, of course, FTR, and of course Tully Blanchard, all in one group. So they've got super groups taking on super groups. Avengers assemble! You don't understand that reference.
No, because I never watched the Avengers.
You suck.
Well, I got that same reaction when I told my girlfriend.
That's like 20 movies of greatness, dude.
I also got the same reaction when I told my girlfriend I never really watched original Star Wars, and she was like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was a sports and wrestling nerd as a kid. Didn't really
watch the episode of How I Met Your Mother and how they made the fiance like watch Star Wars." And she wasn't paying attention, and what's his face? Like, she's texting. She's not even watching the movie.
Which is funny because that's one of our favorite shows. Is How I Met Your Mother, and she was like, "How do you not get all the Star Wars references?" And I'm like, "I really wasn't paying attention."
So you better rent, don't buy. That's it.
Well, that's what I've been told as well. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, Stevie? Because someone has to go to bed. They have to be at work in like 4 hours.
We should talk about the brand new WWE champion.
Bobby Lashley's back. I guess he's the new
He's been back
WWE
for 3
champion.
years, dude.
I know he's been back. I said that wrong. All right.
All hail.
He's the new WWE champion.
Long overdue.
Very long overdue. I mean, granted, I thought he should have been champion in like 2007, 2008. But hey, that was me as a dumb high school fan at that time.
Well,
so
I agree with you. The only problem was there was this guy who was wrestling back then. His name was John Cena. At the absolute peak.
Jonathan Cena? Jonathan Cena? Yeah, he was at the peak.
Have we ever talked about Jonathan Cena?
I don't think we have, no.
Jonathan Cena was allegedly, he always talked about if he would ever turn heel, he would go all corporate. He would call himself Jonathan Cena. He was wearing a suit all the time. Oh, God. That's a crazy visual. Yeah, I've heard some insider stories about that's what one of the things he always said. If he turned heel, that's how he would go. So whenever anyone calls him Jonathan Cena, that's what I think about. Is the heel turn that never happened.
So would Glenn from corporate be his manager? Because that would be a really great pairing.
Yes, be a manager, man. I got such a freaking good mouthpiece. But yeah, John Cena, him and Lashley did have a really good match, like in the summer of 2007. I think it ended with like a attitude adjustment off the top rope because Lashley was so freaking strong, a regular finisher wouldn't do it for him. But yeah, this was, had he not left because he felt his wife was being mistreated, I think it would have happened a lot sooner. I still think a match between him and Lesnar would be great to see at some point. But yeah, it looks like they're probably going to do him and McIntyre going into WrestleMania this year, which I think is going to be a great match. You know, they use Miz as the transitional champion just to get the title to Lashley without taking it off McIntyre, which is interesting. We got a Fastlane pay-per-view coming up next week, which we will be reviewing that after it happens. But that's the only thing I really wanted to mention was that Bobby Lashley, new WWE champion. Long overdue. Happy for the guy. There's another thing I could talk about. We can wait. I can bring this up on the next show about the age of contending WWE superstars right now is on the rise. Oh boy, I'm gonna throw some numbers at you next time, Tim. That it's gonna blow your mind.
Well, I like stats, so I'm ready for stats and information. So you can throw them my way on our next episode.
So if we got nothing else today, Tim, we do want to encourage everyone to follow our social media: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at OTTCLE. Of course, you can also check our podcast out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM. We're also on Spotify and on YouTube. And you just check us out. Let us know how we're doing. Give us a review. We also have Off the Turnbuckle merchandise available on redbubble.com. Just search for Off the Turnbuckle. And I think that's all I have. We're going to try to do a show sometime next week. to review WWE Fastlane, the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania 37. Is that what I'm around now?
I've lost count. I think it's 38.
I think it's 37.
Looking right now. See, we're typing to Google this machine, and we're looking right now. 37. WrestleMania 37 live from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida.
Yep. 37. Will be coming second weekend of April, of course. And I believe this next pay-per-view is going to be the first pay-per-view on the Peacock TV app, Universal's streaming app. I guess there's a couple other things here, actually, real quick. They're going to be having NXT is going to have a 2-night event the week of WrestleMania. First night will be on Wednesday nights. Wednesday night in USA, 2 hours, and they're going to have a Thursday night 2 special. That'll be on the Roku. Damn it. That'll be on the Peacock app. And I believe they're going to do their Hall of Fame the day before that. So that starts on a Tuesday. And they're going to induct the 2020 and the 2021 classes. They've announced one inductee this year will be Molly Holly. Well-deserved as well. One of the trailblazers for women's wrestling, what it is today, during a very, very, very tricky time to be a women's wrestler when she was very successful. So that good for her, right?
Congratulations to her on making the Hall of Fame. Yes, well-deserving. Really good Divas wrestler from the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression era of WWE. Definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
And that's all the news I have for today. So until next time, I'm at Steve Parsons 15 on Twitter.
I am at Tim_Grattan, GRATTAN 77 on Twitter, where you can follow me for, sarcasm and some sports stuff.
Yeah, next time we come at you, the March Madness tournament will be well underway, I'm sure. We'll see.
Oh, it will be.
And we'll talk about
great state of Indiana.
We'll talk about how Tim's bracket will be destroyed because he picked West Virginia to win it all, and they'll be bounced like in the first round probably.
Hey, you can bet on sports here in Virginia legally, so I'll definitely be tossing some cash around. Thank you, America, for stimulus money. But yeah, we'll be talking a little March Madness as well in our next podcast.
Just make sure nothing trending here before we sign off for the show. I don't think we have anything Saturday when we're doing this thing. Typically, no news really breaks on Saturdays, right? Just stuff about last night. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Oh, Edge is going to be in the ring. First time on TV in 11 years, by the way. This upcoming week on SmackDown, he's going to face Jey Uso in a one-on-one match. So check that out if you want to see Edge on TV. So, for Tim Grant and I'm Steve Parsons, we will catch you down the road.
See ya!